Um, Welcome to another Cliff's List webinar, and I'm very pleased today to have as our special guest David Wygant, who has been around for a long time training guys and women to be more successful in their relationships and in their encounters with the opposite sex. For those of you who aren't familiar with David, I'm going to ask him to give us a little introduction about himself. Uh, he's been around as long as I can remember, and I'm sure he's got quite a story to tell you.
Been 16 years, Cliff.
That's a while.
I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, I've seen everything. I've seen people come. I've seen people go. I've seen dating change. I've seen the hope of the swipe daters now. I've seen everything. I mean, there is nothing that I've not seen. There's nothing that I cannot call people out on their shit. I mean, I've heard every story, every excuse in the book. I've heard every guy's excuse of why he can't meet a girl. I've heard every reason why they can't approach. I've seen the pickup community come and literally go, with all the negs and the other stuff. I mean, I have witnessed every single bit of it. And it's interesting. The same thing needs, the same thing that I was teaching back in, 1999, 2000 when I started is still in vogue now, man. Learning how to be a natural, confident, secure man instead of like a guy that's mumbling out some, ridiculous pickup lines from some guru that's not really a guru, but he's a marketer. And, you never see his picture. So you're learning the Wizard of Oz techniques from the Wizard of Oz himself. So same stuff, man. If you want to go meet women, you got to learn how to be confident. You got to learn how to become a better communicator. It's never going to change at all, especially in today's day with Tinder, Bumble, and all the swipe dating. Man, personality makes you stand out even more. And the great thing, Cliff, is that every guy out there has a personality. Some of them are just too afraid to let it go.
Interesting. So how did you get into this in the first place? And like, you must see obviously some differences from when you started to today.
Yeah, there's a lot of so-called like 23-year-old experts right now, which is a fucking joke to me. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I was 23 years old. I was pretty cool. I thought I knew shit. I mean, that was 30 years ago, and I see these 23, 24-year-old pickup guys or life coaches teaching people about life. I'm sorry, man, 23, 24, you're all theory. Maybe you can get laid and, maybe you can, teach a guy how to meet a girl, right? But you have had no substantial relationships in your life. I mean, you basically was off your mom's tit and, out of your parents' house by the time you were 22. So you're just like a little newborn baby sucking on a nipple called life. So I've seen a lot of that. Like I've seen a lot of like young guys thinking they know everything, type of thing. And I kind of say buyer beware, man. It's like, to me, and I'm not plugging my stuff at all because either you're going to like me or not, I could care less, but I always have a warning sign. It's like, if you're going to get advice from somebody, get advice from somebody that's actually lived, that's actually gone through the cycle of life. They've been married, they've been divorced, they've had kids, they've fucked women of all ages, they've had businesses, they've made money, they've lost money, they made money again. It's like, you can't get advice from a young person because no offense to the young guys, but you're just babes in the wood, and there's nothing wrong with that. Life is about learning, and it's kind of amazes me because the younger guys that have gotten into this think it's so cool to be this. It's so cool to be a dating coach. It's so cool to be that because they're just seeking validation from you guys. They're just seeking validation from, the guys that are paying them. They want to be cool because they don't believe coolness is inside, man. I don't need to be cool. I already know I am. And confidence comes from inside. So I've seen a lot of that, Cliff, where just these young guys that are full of talk trying to teach guys. And it just, I don't know, it kind of disturbs me because in life, you're a player until you're a coach. Think about the NFL. There's no 23-year-old coaches coaching football teams. You go, you play for 10 years, you prove your shit. You coach at lower levels, you prove your stuff, and then all of a sudden, you get an opportunity to start coaching grown men in your mid to late 30s. It's called maturation. So I just see a lot of that going on out there now. Just a lot of young guys just thinking they can do this stuff. And man, I'll tell you, they might be able to get laid, but they don't know shit about life yet.
Well, tell me then about what you would do now in terms of bringing, let's say you meet a client now compared to maybe when you started out. What specifically would you do differently to bring them along that maybe you think that um, uh, bringing him to become more confident, to become more of to benefit from your experience? Like what would you do differently now than before?
I mean, it's 60. I mean, even when I started this business, I was still in my late 30s. So it's like, I was a man, who's been through a lot. It's simple. I've seen everybody come and go. I've seen so many guys of all ages. I can coach a 14-year-old kid and deal with his insecurities and understand that he's looking for a daddy figure, because a lot of men, that are unsuccessful in meeting women have issues with their father. Some of them have mother issues. I mean, it's like, I know for one, studying human behavior for so many years and being a coach for so long, I know people's story and their stuff. I'm able to bust their story. It's a big difference when you look at a 27-year-old guy that's insecure. I mean, I'm listening to it from somebody who's double his age, who's lived those times, but also have seen many case studies like it. It's just like in anything else, it's like, if you want the best, you got to pay for the best. If you want, there's a lot of cheap alternatives out there, but you're getting, 1/4. And I always tell men all the time, if you really want to be a well-rounded man, because that's what it's all about. It's not about getting pussy. Pussy is not validating at all. It's a fucking insecurity. If you're bragging to your friends because you fingered a girl or you got head from some girl in the bathroom, it's really you screeching out for validation and confirmation. It's absolutely an insecurity. And I know that because I was the same way, man. I used to play smell my finger in high school, and and then when I was in college, I used to brag about some fucking chick that was stupid enough to fuck me, I mean, I did the same thing, so I understand that. So in life, though, your greatest connections come from being authentic and powerful and a developed man, and that's what it really comes down to. You can go get lucky and hit up a girl on Tinder and get laid one night, but the bottom line is you want some staying power in life, because the more you work on yourself, the greater chance you're going to evolve as a powerful, strong man, which is going to lead to respect, because that's what you want to get. A guy that's just going out and banging women, he ain't getting any fucking respect. And what happens is eventually you're going to be caught, with your pants down, and you're not going to gain any respect. And eventually you're not going to want to just get laid. You're going to want a relationship, and you're not going to know how to have a relationship because you haven't had a proper one with yourself, because you've been avoiding really getting real with yourself, and you're using women to validate your fucking lack of confidence. I get it, man, because I've been there and I know that.
So it's clear that there's no substitute for experience to start with.
None.
And I guess the question then is what shortcuts can you offer someone? Obviously, when you take them and train them, or when you give them advice, like because experience is something they've got to live through. What do you do to sort of move that along a little bit?
Everybody wants a shortcut, man. It's the magic pill society, so people want to go spend an hour with somebody on the phone and be magically fucking cured, and I'm just going to tell you right now, it doesn't exist, but the shortcuts that I do give are insightful shortcuts, because I've already seen you. When you got 20 years of experience doing something, you've seen everybody before, so you have the shortcut to cutting through. Approach anxiety, piece of cake, man. I mean, it's all, learning how to communicate better. It just depends. It's like I've seen every archetype of every single man that's out there. So to me, it's really simple to understand what you need to work on. And when I do that, it's very step by step, because you can't build your self-esteem up in a day. So you've got to decide what battle you're going to do, and you got to dig in there. And what happens is when a guy is able to stand on his own 2 feet and really look and say, hey, this is me, man. I met a girl and she didn't fucking like me because she doesn't want a guy like me. You feel better that way, instead of going, oh, what can I do to try to get her? I've tried to call her like 4 times, but she just doesn't fucking ever call me back. What can I do? There's that desperation mentality. A guy that has that mentality is a desperate motherfucker. You really are. A guy that just says, hey, this chick doesn't dig me, but there's plenty of other ones, that's an abundant motherfucker. That's a guy that really understands that. So there's so many different angles that I go depending on who the person is. I mean, it's not one shoe and one size fits all.
Well, I'm sure you see a lot of commonalities. I think you've mentioned it. You've seen it all. Um, you're going to come up with a guy who obviously has a problem approaching, another guy who's shy. Um, People who have probably insecurities about things like their weight, maybe their hair, their looks, their height. Maybe you can sort of tell me what you do in those sort of situations.
I mean, those are 5 different situations. So,
Well,
it's about
couple.
it's about Cliff. It's about practicing self-love. If you don't like yourself, no one else will like you. Plain and simple. If you're not interesting and don't live an interesting life, if you're sitting home every single night masturbating like 80% of these guys are to internet porn and playing fucking video games and going out to bars and staring at your phone or checking your social media feed and swiping on Tinder, you're not an interesting person. I'm sorry. No girl wants to hear about how you fucking jerked off to some fucking porn, I mean, and that's the biggest thing is that porn is so accessible nowadays. So guys are fucking masturbating at a rapid fucking pace, So it comes down to the first thing is build an interesting life. If you're interesting, then you have things to talk about. If you're not interesting, you don't have things to talk about. I'm interesting. I do interesting things. I travel to places. I've got interesting friends, so I can carry conversations on wherever I go because I pay attention to all the things that are going on. But the problem is with so much of today's world, we're hanging out in front of a screen 24/7. So we're not really that interesting. So that's the first step all the time. A guy that's interesting is attractive to women. A guy that's not interesting is not attracted to women. So my step always is become interesting, become somebody you'd want to hang out with.
Okay. I guess I notice you're also giving some advice to women these days as well. What do you find a big difference between what women are looking to learn compared to men? Because we're both sort of trying to get into the same, I guess, end goal in a lot of ways.
Honestly, it all depends on the woman once again. It depends on the age that she's at. It's like there's age ranges. If a woman over 40, she's fucked up, man, a lot of them. They can't pull the trigger on anything because they're so still caught up. They're caught up about aging and they're caught up about being that they want to meet that guy. They want to meet their fucking hero. They want to meet the one, yet they haven't met the one yet. So instead of just enjoying men as they come in and having a good time with them like they did in their 20s, they're using sex as a negotiation ploy. I mean, I know women like the back of my hand. I mean, I've been dealing with them my whole life, so it just all depends on the age. Women in their 20s are far more adventurous. Women, when they hit the age of 30 and they haven't had a kid, tend to fucking, walk around with a vacancy in their womb. I mean, it just depends on the age of the woman. And that's something I've got a program called Girls Tell All, which really interviews women of all ages so you can understand women. Because that's a funny thing, Cliff, is that people never, it's like, in order to be successful, you got to study the competition. The competition is not other men. The competition usually is yourself and women. So men want to connect with women, yet they don't spend any time learning about women. And women are all different from all different ages, all different shapes and sizes, The women have different energies, the low self-esteem girl with lots of makeup, the girl that, is on her fucking social media 24/7. She's a social media whore. The girl that's always out with her friends and never turns her back because she's really fucking insecure and she's afraid to let anybody in. And there's so many archetypes of women and there's so many different things that I need to do when I coach women to get them out of their shit.
How do you find, like most of the men today? Do you find that there's a difference? I mean, my experience seems to be that a lot of the guys out there are a lot more skilled than they were 10 years ago. A lot of them have got different insecurities or different problems with women. I'm finding I'm surprised at how many guys are actually having quite a bit of success, and they've all got sort of like niche problems more than overall the same problem like I think it was more years ago.
Problems are always problems. People are always people. So You know, you're probably meeting more people that are actually a little better, but once again, they're not well-rounded. So that comes down to who you choose as a guru, right? So you've got the guy that's gotten really good at approach and being able to pick up girls because he picked a 24-year-old guru. But what his issues are, right, is that he can't be authentic and real. You know, it's always about playing a game and making himself unavailable, and he's got everything calculated because, you know, there are a lot of guys out there that teach calculated methods. So this guy, when he steps out of the world of being calculated and he tries to get a girlfriend, there's no chance in the hell he can do that because he's so calculated. Women don't want to be with a calculated person, you know. Then there are guys that have gotten really good at writing things on Tinder. But the problem is they're really bad at getting the second date. Why? Because they don't know how to relate to a woman's emotional core. So they're not good conversationalists, but they learned just enough Tinder game to get them the date. You know, then there's the guy, you know, that can approach women in certain areas and, you know, but once again, he can't seem to get anybody to stick around. He's always in the friend zone because he hasn't learned how to turn on his sexual energy, and he's not comfortable in his own body. So when women are around him, you know, they tend to not feel anything sexual. They don't feel any of that attraction that they should have or that they want to have with a guy. So yeah, there's a lot, because that's the problem, is that, you know, and it goes down to what we were talking about in the beginning. There's so many one-quarter gurus out there. So that's why you're seeing a lot more people that seem to have something taken care of, but not the whole package, because there's a lot of younger guys in the business now that are still working through their shit. So you can't teach things that you're working through. If you haven't had a girlfriend and you're just busy fucking chicks and you're 25 years old, how are you going to go and teach somebody how to get a girlfriend? So that's the problem, is that a lot of guys are out there, they don't know who to turn to, you know, because there's so much information. So they're only getting bits and pieces. And that goes down to the whole thing. It's like, understand who you're, you know, take a look at the person they are. Do they live that life? Do you want to emulate them? I mean, role models are people that you want to emulate and be like, right? And usually our role models are people that are older than us because they've already accomplished all the shit we've already want to accomplish. And they've made the mistakes so they can teach that. So yeah, that's why you're seeing it. It's a very valid point you just brought up.
What about, you know, aging? You know, I think that's been a very relevant topic for a lot of guys like us who've been around for quite a while, and the years, you know, tick by. I think that, you know, you probably see, you know, probably see a lot of clients who are older and still have certain problems that they never really solved over the course of their lives. How do you do anything different with guys who are older who maybe missed out on the experience they should have had?
Well, yeah, I mean, I call it living in Regretville. Sorry about that. The phone's in the other room. So they're living in Regretville. I mean, here's the deal, okay? You know, and this is something, aging, you're not going to stop the aging process. We're getting older every single day. Everybody's getting older. And the bottom line is you're going to fucking die. You're going to die probably before you want to die. It's probably not going to be that pretty. You're probably going to go to sleep one night and you're not going to wake up the next morning. So, well, there goes your to-do list and there goes the date that you had lined up. I mean, that's life, man. You can't stop death. Death is coming. It's going to come. It's going to hit you. You're going to fucking die. And you're going to die hopefully with a little money in the bank and hopefully a little more memories in your brain. But here's the thing. You guys, you know, I say this to men all the time. Because you were a fucking geek in your 20s and you weren't able to connect with women and you married the first girl, you know, that actually paid any bit of attention to you. You ended up spitting out 2 kids or 3 kids. You hated her. You didn't like it. Now you're overweight a little bit and you're in your mid to late 40s heading towards 50, and you want the young, hot girls that you always crave the whole time. I got to fucking tell you, man, it's just, and I'm going to lay it on the line and I'm not going to bullshit you. You're not their choice. You're not their number one choice. And I'm going to piss you off because I can go out and fuck a 25-year-old if I wanted to, because I am cool. You know, I am successful. I stay in shape. I look young. I've got great communication skills. I'm not afraid of talking to a woman. I don't have any fear. I'm living fearless. I don't look like the suburban dad who just jumped out of the minivan into a cool midtown loft and I want to get laid with women because I want to try to make up for lost time. You can't make up for lost time. You're not going to meet women on Tinder and Bumble and those other apps because you're their last choice. They want a guy They want, if they're going to have an old guy for experience, that old guy is the fucking Dos Equis man. He's the George Clooney guy. Now, I'm not saying you can't turn into that, but it does take more work if you want that. If you're that guy that feels like you missed out on something and you want to go eat fucking 25-year-old pussy, then I get it. I get that you crave that experience, but it means a lot more. It means hitting the gym. It means throwing out your shitty wardrobe that I've seen you wear, like those free t-shirts that don't even fit that well. It means really doing a full makeover. If you're going bald, shave your head, have a little bit of attitude. Get somebody who can put together a wardrobe for you so you have fashion, so you look cool, so you become that experience, so you look like you give her the daddy fucking thing that she wants, or you give her the older guy experience. But you got to learn how to communicate, you know, and you got to be confident. If you're insecure at that age, holy shit, it is going to fucking ruin any chances of you getting any young pussy. So you got to create that image, man. It's all image. If you want to be Bruce Springsteen, you got to look like Bruce Springsteen. So you better get in the gym and get that body into Bruce Springsteen shape.
So if I understand, you pretty much put the exterior as being quite important to being coordinated with the interior. You know, you've got to, you know, get in shape. You've got to, you know, change your wardrobe. You got to change your look, update your look. And at the same time, you've obviously got to work on your thoughts and your attitude and your and what you're saying and how you're saying things to women. And you know, that sounds like an awful lot for someone to learn in a relatively short time.
Well, I mean, look at the way you say that. It's like an awful lot, but it's how bad do you want it? I mean, how bad do you want it? I mean, you know, I'm the only one who tells the truth. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat shit. You know, it's not worth it, Cliff, to sugarcoat things, because you got a poor guy that, you know, is being sugarcoated to death and never gets it. At least I'm telling you what you got to do. If you're not willing as a man to do that, then you're not going to get, yeah, maybe you can get the overweight, you know, young pussy. But I mean, that's not what you're looking for. I know what you're looking for. You're looking for the high school cheerleader you never got to bang. You're looking for the girls that you couldn't bang. So the fact of the matter is, damn right, it's about branding, man. Nobody wants Suburban Dad brand. They want the fucking cool guy. So you know what? You got to brand yourself that way. The way you decorate your house, you know, the way everything. I mean, you know, the artwork you choose. I mean, it's all part of it. The car that you drive. And I'm not talking about driving a stupid Corvette or a sports car, because then you look like the cliche middle-aged guy that got divorced. It's just, it's everything. It's about being interesting and cool and different, because a young woman is coming to you for an experience in life that she can't get from the 25-year-olds. Because, I mean, let's put it mildly. I mean, who would you rather be banging? You want to bang the 25-year-old instead of the 45-year-old lizard-looking woman, you know, that's whose fucking tits are fucking sagging from having 3 kids sucking on her nipples, right? You want to go fuck the young, hot fucking woman that puts on a bikini and the bikini stands upright? Well, guess what? They can fuck the young guys that look all ripped and good. So you're competing with that. So you have to look good. You have to be great on the outside. And your advantage, and this is where the advantage comes in, is that you actually can fucking teach them something that the young guys can't. You can eat pussy, and that's another thing I tell guys all the time. That's why I've got a great sex course. Eat pussy. If you can eat pussy and bring her multiple orgasms, she's going to fucking be there day in and day out. She's going to love you to death, because a lot of the young guys, man, they're just so full of testosterone. They just want to put their dick into a vagina, and they just want to fucking shoot a load, you know? So the older guys, man, it's like if we put our dick in a vagina, we got one shot that night to come. So we want to, just marinate it and have fun with it. So yeah, you're an experience. So it's branding, man. Everybody's a branding. Life is all about image. It really is. I mean, I can look at somebody and I can look at Cliff, I can look at 10 guys lined up in a line, and I can tell you exactly why each of them doesn't get laid, just by the way they look, stand, and the way they feel about themselves. It's all about branding, man. That's what life is. Instagram. Everything is about pictures now. Everything is about fucking, instant gratification. So get with the times, man. If you can't get with the times, you're not going to get any.
Are there any other specific suggestions you can make to someone that, that would help them to become more successful, given what you're seeing in general out there these days with the young guys?
I I mean, that's a lot. You got to be interesting. I mean, I give a lot of stuff. I mean, I can't be any more specific without actually giving away the house. You know, I mean, the fact is, I mean, you know, you got to be interesting, and you got to live a great life. If you don't love your life, no one's going to love your life for you. I mean, this is some good advice. Guys cloud themselves with too much information. It's too much TMI. It's too much information. It's like, if a guy wants to start being the it guy, I've given them quite a lot of things that you even said, you know, like, that sounds like an awful lot to do, but you're asking for me to tell them even more. Are you kidding me? If I tell them more, they're going to feel like they can't do it at all. It's like small little steps.
Well, what do you? So you're not very positive on the online dating thing, from what I gathered.
You know, at certain ages, I do think it's great. Like, you know, if you're walking around, you know, I got tons of clients in their 20s, man. I set up their Tinder accounts for them, and they're getting fucking blown and laid left and right, you know, because there's just so many girls that are in it. If you're over the age of 40, I mean, here's the problem. Let's say you're a guy that's 50 years old, okay? Well, women go on Tinder and Bumble and all the other ones, and they only want to meet a guy that's, if a 40-year-old woman who should really date the 50-year-old guy, they'll cut it off at 49, which means you got to lie, right? But still at 49, they're hoping that the guy is actually closer to 43. It's not, once again, I think young guys can get it from all different angles, from Tinder to Bumble to online to meeting out and about. The world is more your oyster because there's more opportunities. The older guys, you know, that want to go and meet somebody that they're attracted to, a lot of the women have let themselves go. So the best advice always for men over the age of 45 is to go out and flirt, because nobody's really doing that. So you're going to be competing with nobody. It's just being smart, man. It's just knowing where you're at the stage of the game you are. I mean, it's no different than when Peyton Manning won the Super Bowl last year. He couldn't throw the ball like he used to throw the ball. He just didn't have it anymore. You know, he had numbness in his fingers. So he played within the game that was presented to him at the age of 39. That's what you have to do. You got to play the game as it's presented, and you can succeed immensely.
Okay. Well, if I guess I'm just curious, like, what when you take somebody out, what do you look for mostly when you're taking somebody out for the first time?
That's not what I look for mostly. I'm in the moment. I'm not looking for anything, man. It all appears. I'm very zen, Cliff. I can read minds, you know. It's like I'm not looking. I'm just seeing how they are, who they are, how they handle themselves, how they communicate. It's everybody, you know. It's like if I go and I work with somebody at a boot camp, or I work with somebody, you know, out and about. I mean, I can go out with you, man, and, you know, I can watch you flirt with a woman, and I can tell you the 3 things you didn't do right or wrong, or what you did right. I pay attention to it. I would look out for the details. It's, you know, I'm kind of looking at somebody as each person that comes to me, they're a blank canvas, right? So each person is just an entity to me, you know, they're just a person. So I'm really looking to see who they are, and each person really tips their hand who they are, you know, if they're positive, if they're negative, if, you know, if they have trouble communicating, talking, the way they walk. I mean, it's so many different things. That's why when I coach people, I have them send me audios of them going out and approaching women, because then I can hear what they're not doing. And I also, which is interesting, I also have people videotape themselves. So when I'm coaching them as well, I can actually look at them and see what they're not doing. So it's just, there's no generalization except the fact that I've got an opportunity to actually help somebody really become something powerful. And that's what really makes me excited.
Okay. Let me just, I guess I'm trying to find some, maybe some tips that you might have for guys, that I know, like, you know, your overall presentation is obviously the key thing here. You know, how they you know, fix their lives so that they can be a real person, be a more complete person when they're out there. But is there any individual small tips you might be able to give somebody?
I mean, I feel like I'm giving tips the whole time.
Okay.
I mean, you know, it's like in what situations? I mean, I feel like I'm giving lots of tips. I'm not. The difference between Cliff, me, and like the other guys, you know, which I think you've known because you've known me a long, long time. You know, I am very, it's like I'm Buddha. You know, I'm very Zen-like. You know, I let life come to me, meaning that I know, my attitude is that I know that if I go out every single day, and I truly believe this, when I go out, I'm a movie star. I'm a movie star in my own life. I'm the leading man. So when I go out, I see lots of different people. I see men walking around that are, you know, that are extras in my life. I see some B actors that I communicate with. I meet some women. Some of them are just background, right? But I'm looking for my leading lady because I'm a strong personality. But I also, when I look around, I always see opportunity in very different ways than what other people see. A lot of people don't see the same opportunities that I see. I see opportunity. So I'm constantly looking, I'm constantly talking, I'm constantly, you know, feeling different things. So does that make sense to you? Because, you know, it's like life presents itself and I'm so present. I'm not walking around with my cell phone in my hands, texting people. I'm walking around looking at life and seeing the gifts that come to me every single day. And that the more I pay attention in life, the more gifts, you know, the more people I'm going to meet, the more women I'm going to meet, the more friends I'm going to make. I mean, there's so much involved in that.
Yeah, I think this is the insights that you have based on experience. It's like when you're out somewhere, you can look at people and you read them, and you're picking up things that you know other people don't because they don't have your experience. Um, and I guess I'm sort of trying to figure out what can I ask you that will help guys in a practical sense. You know, just from listening to this webinar. Um,
I
what
mean, this is practical. This is just so, this is all you need. I mean, if guys walk around and actually pay attention to their life, they're going to see opportunities. If guys observe everything that's around, instead of worrying about what to say to somebody, actually observe and actually say what comes to mind. I'm teaching people how to trust their instincts. I think that's the problem, Cliff, is that we have been marketed for so many years by marketers that fucking teach you these 3-step systems that you memorize that we've lost instincts. So that's why you have so many people. You said it perfectly. There's so many guys out there that are just, you know, 1/4 full, not 25% full.
exactly?
You know, that's what I'm trying to go deeper with. This is it's a deeper thing. This is for a guy, you know, my stuff and who I am is for a guy that actually wants to be an all-around great man in life, somebody that's respected, somebody that has great friends, you know, somebody that can state his opinion and not be afraid, because there's a lot of yes men out there. You know, it's like I'm really trying to get guys to really understand just the beauty of what an abundant life is all about.
Well, that's, you know, I think that's clearly something that a lot of guys are coming to and not, they sort of, I think they understand it in concept, but it's another thing to actually bring themselves to actually live that, you know, and to actually believe that they deserve it. Um, and I think that, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done on their thought processes to start seeing themselves in the same way that you sort of described that how you see yourself as being, you know, the leading man in your own movie.
Well, yeah, the leading man in the old movie is great. I mean, this is just, that's what life is. It's like, it's what everybody wants to be. It's like you want to have that unstoppable feeling of just knowing that life's going to deliver to you. I don't lack anything. I've got an abundant mindset over everything, from money to women to friends to everything. There's no lack out there in this world. I'm teaching them a much deeper path to go down than I think a lot of the superficial stuff that everybody talks about. I mean, I don't know. I mean, how old are you now?
Oh, I'm almost, I guess probably in the same age range as you, I think.
Right. So we're about the same age. So you get what I'm saying to you right now. You know, we've seen a lot of shit in our lifetime, right? You
Absolutely.
know, you get it. It's like what I love to do and what inspires me the most is that when I have a 20-year-old guy and I'm able to take him and show him what a beautiful ride this can be, because I'm giving him the shortcut that I didn't know. It's like, you know, he's actually growing, you know, because I had to go through all this shit and learn it on my own. That's what's so beautiful, is that when I get a 24, 25-year-old guy and I'm able to teach him how to live an abundant life, wow, it's just endless, the possibilities. It's absolutely endless.
What about guys that have real sticking points, is that they just can't seem to get past certain things? Do you have anything that you can do for them?
There's nobody that has that. That's their own fear dictating. Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, you know, I can have a guy. I've worked with guys that have just been, you know, I worked with a guy that was blind. Okay, blind. You know, he couldn't see women at all. Never really, you know, looked at it as an absolute detriment, right? You know, he could smell women, he can feel them, right? But he thought no woman wanted to be with him. Who wants to be with a fucking blind guy, right? He can't even tell them that they're beautiful because he doesn't even know. We worked together. The guy's a fucking stud now. A stud. A stud. You know, why? Because he had so much to offer. And that's the thing about brand you. And that's what I do. I figure out what your best traits are, because we all have amazing traits. So his traits were how to listen. He was very compassionate. You know, he was very in tune. He hears things that nobody else hears. He's very aware of his environment. So he was very tuned into that. So that was a big turn on to women. So I got him to look at his wins instead of what he doesn't have, because we all have wins. We all have amazing, powerful things that we are capable of. And we just need to be able to, you know, really, you know, look at that and embrace it.
Right. I think that's probably a very common problem, is that people don't appreciate themselves and love themselves, like you said before. And that's obviously very challenging for some people to adopt that mindset.
It's very challenging, and that's where it all starts. Life is 100% mindset. There's a phrase that people use all the time. I'll see it. I'll believe it when I see it, you know, because everybody doubts. Like, you know, people order a program for me. You got a 90-day money back guarantee because I got to see it. I don't believe it at all until I see it. You know, it's like they're doubters. You know, they spend their life doubting things. To me, it's all about, you got to believe it before you see it. Because if you believe it, the universe will show up and give you that. And I'm very persistent in life.
Yes, persistence is a very key thing, I think, especially in all aspects of having success in all areas. And I think that, you know, there's obviously a lot of guys that just have shortcomings in that and other things, that just need someone to put them on the right path.
Yeah, they do. They need somebody to put them on the right path, and they need to believe that path. You know, it's once again like the blind guy. You know, I always said, you're the best client I could possibly have, because you can't see anything. So you have to believe it first, which is just such a beautiful thing to really think about. He had to believe it first, and he did.
Okay. Are there any shortcuts you can tell someone in terms of changing their own thinking patterns?
Yeah, I mean, it's always about the shortcut, man. God, welcome to the fucking unrealistic world of people. It's a shortcut. You want the best shortcut in the entire world? You stand in front of a mirror, you take all your fucking clothes off, and you look at yourself, and you tell yourself, this is exactly who I am. This is my body. This is my hair. This is my face. This is my ball that fucking hangs to the right, not to the left. This is who I am. This is my belly, right? And you need to look at yourself and say to yourself in the mirror, totally naked, I am a strong, powerful fucking man. And you need to say it over and over again every single day until you actually believe it, because that's what women are looking for. That's a shortcut. Belief is everything. If you walk around feeling that, just energetically, women are going to look at you different.
Yes, I totally relate to what you're describing there.
That's because we're old.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. I guess aging is quite a shock to the system in a lot of ways. You kind of knew it was coming, but when you're actually there, it's a different experience. Uh, I think that a lot of guys have a difficulty adjusting to the fact that they can go up to a younger woman and then she'll look at them and you act like you're the creepy guy because you're old and approaching a younger woman. And that's really a lot of it is all in your own head. If you believe that you're deserving of her, she'll believe it. I think that's my experience. Is that it's like if you take an acting class, they show you how if you're going to believe your character that you're performing, the audience will believe it. And if you don't believe it, the audience is going to look at you and think that you're a poor actor. And I think it's the same thing with women. If you have a confident and congruent approach and belief in yourself, that's all that really matters, and that's all they really care about.
Well, yeah, I mean that's all that really matters. People care about the performance that you're putting on. How are you going to perform in life? What type of performance do you want to put on? It's so true. Acting classes is great. I mean, it's one of the greatest things that I feel is something that's lacking, is that belief of that character. And the character is you, man. If you can't believe in yourself, then who else is going to believe in you?
Well, I think that you probably got a lot of people that are sort of on the line. Maybe they believe in themselves not fully or partially, and that's the rub. They may come across perfectly confident in one area of their life, and then another area, like with women, that's where they have certain maybe deeper doubts, and that's a little bit gnarly sometimes to work out.
We all have deeper doubts on certain things. We all have regrets. We all have deeper doubts. How to get rid of your, I mean, it's like such a powerful thing. Do you think the majority of people have deep doubts of something? Do you feel like the majority of the world has some deep doubt that really plagues them on a daily basis?
Well, I think a lot of guys have partial doubts. Some guys may think that they're confident and that they're uh, that they've got a lot of their act together, or they may have the experience, but there's often bits and pieces that aren't complete, and that's where they fall apart. And it's not easy to put the whole picture together for some of them.
I'm actually writing that down, putting the picture. You know why? Because it's a great thing that I want to write about. And thank you for fucking stimulating me on that sense. Because to me, life is all about, once again, and that's another thing too, Cliff. And I tell people all the time, when you're so present in the moment, it will definitely inspire you to be something. So here you're talking about, I'm putting together a brand new program about living with no regrets, which I think is the only way to live. And I was trying to figure out what some of the other pain points were and some of the other hot buttons were, and how to get all rid of doubts, putting the picture together. So life, and I wrote this down, I'm going to quote, so life is full of no regrets. Thank you for fucking doing that.
I'm glad to be of some help.
No, I mean, but that's part of like the whole thing is like, in life, we all have takeaways from things. In life, the more you can take away, the more powerful you become.
Okay, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about sort of I guess the products that you offer, your coaching. What can someone learn from you that that they should be aware of at this point in time?
I mean, I still do, I still do like kick-ass coaching. I mean, the fact of the matter is, get me when I'm inspired with coaching. Right now I'm on a big coaching binge, because I'm really inspired to give people that one-on-one guidance that they need. So, I mean, I've got amazing coaching programs. I mean, it would be an honor, anybody listening or watching right now, it'd be a real honor to work with you and help you really, come up with a custom game plan that fits you, so you can really come up with brand you. And then I've got I've got great programs. You know, I've got programs on how to get a girlfriend. I got programs how to get rid of approach anxiety. I've got programs on how to be a great lover. I've got a program called Unstoppable Code that teaches you how to make a lot of money and be super successful. I mean, I've lived the life. And the thing is, I've lived the life and I want to share the life, because to me, that's what really gets me going, is sharing the life with people right now.
Okay, is there any specific program that you wanted to mention to them? That one of the things that I do with people basically is that if anyone was to order something from you that they found out about it from this webinar, if they email both you and me, I will send them in addition a free product, a free Cliffs List product, just as a thank you for having, I guess, followed up on something that you've learned about from this webinar.
Oh, I got something. I mean, are you kidding me? I'll do something even better. I got a program called Unstoppable. It's 48 days, drip content, a video every single day with exercises, complete access to me and my team of coaches. It teaches you everything on how to meet women to how to be the most incredible man in the world. It's got the best fucking daily lessons in the world, so you can rewatch a lesson if you need to do it again. And it's got killer exercises to do, emotional exercises, mental exercises. It teaches you how to be amazing with women, how to make oodles of money, and how to be that dominant alpha guy. And it's usually right around $500. I mean, I would do a 50% off just for people. If you want to email me and you like what I was saying, email me and I'll give you 50% off because you watched with, you watched Cliff and I talk today. So I'll extend something really good. And I'll also throw in another program that goes with that program for free, which is another $200 value. So you're basically going to get $700 of programs for like a couple $100. So I will, you want to give something away, man. Because you and I, we've known each other forever and ever and ever. And I want to match you giving something away by giving something away and giving them access to, the best program that I have right now.
Well, that's great. I think that sounds like a tremendous opportunity. And I hope that a number of our listeners are going to take advantage of that. I think we've more or less covered the basics with you. And I want to take a minute and just thank you for taking the time with me today and, telling people a little bit about yourself and your basic philosophy. And I'm hoping that some of the guys will follow up on everything that you've said and learn a lot from you.
Me too. Like I said, Dave, I'm very easy. You're very easy to connect with, contact, ask questions. My life is an open door, man. I'm in this business to help you. I've done really well. I've made lots of money. I share those secrets in Unstoppable Code too. And I just, at this point in my life, I don't want to see guys live a great life, man, because that's what, to me, when I die, I want to think about all the people that I helped and all the people that I gave them the truth. Maybe it was hard for them to swallow, but I gave them the truth and helped them on their way. So thanks for having me, Cliff. I appreciate it. And sorry for all the miscommunication for the last couple of weeks. I'm a dad and, that does take priority in my life.
Absolutely. Well, look, I'm glad we finally connected here, and I want to thank you again. And I'm hoping to hear from everybody who's watching this to give us your comments and thoughts. And if you have any questions, I'll certainly pass them along for David, and we'll try and get them answered for you.
Perfect. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot.